नहमदु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बी ज़िदनी इल्मा अल्लाहुम्मा फ़क़्हिना फ़िद्दीन। सूरह बनी इसराइल। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम सुब्हानल्लज़ी अस्रा बिअब्दिही लैलम मिनल मस्जिदिल हरामि इलल मस्जिदिल अक़सल्लज़ी बारकना हौलहु लिनुरियहु मिन आयातिना इन्नहु हुवस्समीउल बसीर। Exalted is He who took His servant by night from Al-Masjid al-Haram to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, whose surroundings we have blessed to show Him of our signs. Indeed, He is the hearing, the seeing. 1 year before the Hijrah, the circumstances in Makkah were becoming increasingly difficult for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had by now spent about 12 years in Makkah, calling people to worship Allah alone, and the only response he had received in return was refusal, stubbornness, opposition, violence, mockery, and false propaganda. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His special mercy bestows a huge favor, a huge gift to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that gift is Al-Isra and Al-Miraj. Al-Isra means the night journey. Al-Masjid al-Haram is in Makkah and Al-Masjid al-Aqsa is in Jerusalem, Palestine. And so in one night he was taken to Jerusalem, and from there he was taken to the skies above, and this is what is known as Al-Isra and Al-Miraj. And we gave Musa the scripture and made it a guide for the children of Israel. Take none for protector other than me. The descendants of those who carried with Noah, he was an appreciative servant. And we convey to the children of Israel in the scripture, you will commit evil on the earth twice, and you will rise to a great height. When the first of the two promises came true, we sent against you servants of ours, possessing great might, and they ransacked your homes. It was a promise fulfilled. Then we gave you back your turn against them, and supplied you with wealth and children, and made you more numerous. If you work righteousness, you work righteousness for yourselves, and if you commit evil, you do so against yourselves. Then when the second promise comes true, they will make your faces filled with sorrow, and enter the temple as they entered it the first time, and utterly destroyed all that falls into their power. Perhaps your Lord will have mercy on you, but if you revert, we will revert. We have made hell a prison for the disbelievers. This Quran guides to what is most upright, and it gives good news to the believers who do good deeds, that they will have a great reward. And those who do not believe in the hereafter, we have prepared for them a painful punishment. The human being prays for evil as he prays for good. The human being is very hasty. We have made the night and the day two wonders. We raised the wonder of the night and made the wonder of the day revealing, that you may seek bounty from your Lord, and know the number of years and the calculation. We have explained all things in detail. For every person, we have attached his fate to his neck, and on the day of resurrection, we will bring out for him a book, which he will find spread open. Read your book. Today there will be none but yourself to call you to count. Whoever is guided for his own good, and whoever goes astray to his detriment. No burdened soul carries the burdens of another, nor do we ever punish until we have sent a messenger. When we decide to destroy a town, we command its affluent ones, they transgress in it, so the word becomes justified against it, and we destroy it completely. How many generations have we destroyed after Noah? Your Lord is sufficient as knower and beholder of the sins of his servants. Whoever desires the fleeting life, we expedite for him what we decide to give him, to whomever we desire. Then we consign him to hell, where he will roast, condemned, and defeated. But whoever desires the hereafter and pursues it as it should be pursued, while he is a believer, their effort will be appreciated. To all, these and those, we extend from the gifts of your Lord. The gifts of your Lord are not restricted. See how we have favored some of them over others, yet the hereafter is greater in ranks and greater in favors. Do not set up another God with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lest you become condemned and damned. Your Lord has commanded that you worship none but Him, and that you be good to your parents. If either of them or both of them reach old age with you, do not say to them a word of disrespect, nor scold them, but say to them kind words, and lower to them the wing of humility out of mercy, and say, Rabbirhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. My Lord, have mercy on them, as they raised me when I was a child. Your Lord knows best what is in your minds. If you are righteous, He is forgiving to the obedient. And give the relatives his rights, and the poor, and the wayfarer, and do not squander wastefully. The extravagant are brethren of the devils, and the devil is ever ungrateful to his Lord. But if you turn away from them, seeking mercy from your Lord, which you hope for, then say to them words of comfort. And do not keep your hand tied to your neck, nor spread it out fully, lest you end up liable and regretful. Your Lord expands the provision for whomever He wills and restricts it. He is fully informed, observant of His servants. And do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We provide for them and for you. Killing them is a grave sin. And do not come near adultery. It is immoral and an evil way. And do not kill the soul which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made sacred, except in the course of justice. If someone is killed unjustly, we have given his next of kin certain authority. But he should not be excessive in killing, for he will be spotted. And do not go near the orphan's property, except with the best of intentions, until he has reached his maturity. And honor your pledge, because the pledge involves responsibility. And give full measure when you measure, and weigh with accurate scales, that is fair, and the best determination. And do not occupy yourself with what you have no knowledge of. The hearing, and the sight, and the brain, all these will be questioned. And do not walk proudly on earth. You can neither pierce the earth, nor can you match the mountains in height. The evil of all these is disliked by your Lord. That is some of the wisdom your Lord has revealed to you. Do not set up with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala another God, or else you will be thrown in hell, rebuked and banished. Has your Lord favored you with sons while choosing for himself daughters from among the angels? You are indeed saying a terrible thing. We have explained in this Quran in various ways that they may remember, but it only adds to their rebellion. Say, if there were other gods with him, as they say, they would have sought a way to the Lord of the throne. Be he glorified, he is exalted, far above what they say. Praising him are the seven heavens and the earth, and everyone in them. There is not a thing that does not glorify him with praise, but you do not understand their praises. He is indeed forbearing and forgiving. When you read the Quran, we place between you and those who do not believe in the hereafter an invisible barrier, and we drape veils over their hearts, preventing them from understanding it, and heaviness in their ears. And when you mention your Lord alone in the Quran, they turn their backs in aversion. We know well what they listen to when they listen to you, as they conspire, when the wrongdoers say, you only follow a man bewitched. Note what they compare you to. They are lost and unable to find a way. And they say, when we have become bones or fragments, shall we really be resurrected as a new creation? Say, even if you become rocks or iron, or some substance which in your mind is even harder, then they will say, who will restore us? Say, the one who originated you the first time. Then they will nod their heads at you and say, when will it be? Say, perhaps it will be soon. On the day when he calls you, you will respond with his praise, and you will realize that you are stayed only a little. Tell my servants to say what is best. Satan sows discord among them. Satan is to man an open enemy. Your Lord knows you best. If he wills, he will have mercy on you, and if he wills, he will punish you. We did not send you as their advocate, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Your Lord knows well everyone in the heavens and the earth. We have given some prophets advantage over others, and to Dawood we gave the Psalms. Call upon those who claim besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have no power to relieve your adversity, nor can they change it. Those they call upon are themselves seeking means of access to their Lord, vying to be nearer, and hoping for his mercy, and fearing his punishment. This punishment of your Lord is to be dreaded. There is no city, but we will destroy before the day of resurrection, or punish it with a severe punishment. This is inscribed in the book. Nothing prevents us from sending miraculous signs, except that the ancients called them lies. We gave Samud, the she-camel, a visible sign, but they mistreated her. We do not send the signs except to instill reverence. We said to you that your Lord encompasses humanity. We did not make the vision we showed you except as a test for the people, as the tree cursed in the Quran. We frightened them, but that only increases their defiance. When we said to the angels, bow down before Adam, they bowed down, except for Satan. He said, "Shall I bow down before someone you created from mud?" He said, "Do you see this one whom you have honored more than me? If you reprieve me until the day of resurrection, I'll bring his descendants under my sway, except for a few." He said, "Begone, whoever of them follows you. Hell is your reward, an ample reward. And entice whomever of them you can with your voice, and rally against them your cavalry and your infantry, and share with them in wealth and children, and make promises to them. But Satan promises them nothing but delusion. As for my devotees, you have no authority over them. Your Lord is an adequate guardian. Your Lord is He who propels for you the ships at sea, that you may seek of His bounty. He is towards you most merciful. When harm afflicts you at sea, those you pray to vanish, except for Him. But when He saves you to land, you turn away. The human being is ever thankless. Are you confident that He will not cause a tract of land to cave in beneath you, or unleash a tornado against you, and then you find no protector? Or are you confident that He will not return you to it once again and unleash a hurricane against you and drown you for your ingratitude? Then you will find no helper against us. We have honored the children of Adam and carried them on land and sea and provided them with good things and greatly favored them over many of those we created. On the day when we call every people with their leader, whoever is given his record in his right hand, these will read their record, and they will not be wronged one bit. But whoever is blind in this world, he will be blind in the hereafter, and further astray from the way. They almost lured you away from what we have revealed to you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that you would invent something else in our name. In that case, they would have taken you for a friend. Had we not given you stability, you might have inclined towards them a little. Then we would have made you taste double in life and double at death. Then you would have found for yourself no helper against us. They almost provoked you to expel you from the land. In that case, they would not have lasted after you, except briefly. The tradition of the messengers we sent before you. You will find no change in our rules. Perform the prayer at the decline of the sun, until the darkness of the night, and the Quran at dawn. The Quran at dawn is witnessed by angels, and keep vigil with it during parts of the night as an extra prayer. Perhaps your Lord will raise you to a laudable position. And say, "My Lord, lead me in through an entry of truth, and lead me out through an exit of truth, and grant me from you a supporting power." And say, "The truth has come, and falsehood has withered away." For falsehood is bound to wither away. We send down in Quran healing and mercy for the believers, but it increases the wrongdoers only in loss. When we bless the human being, he turns away and distances himself, but when adversity touches him, he is in despair. Say, "Each does according to his disposition." Your Lord knows best who is better guided in the way. Ask you about the Spirit. Say, "The Spirit belongs to the domain of my Lord, and you were given only little knowledge. If we willed, we could take away what we revealed to you. Then you will find for yourself no protecting guardian against us, except through a mercy from your Lord. His favors upon you have been great." Say, "If mankind and jinn came together to produce the like of this Quran, they could never produce the like of it, even if they backed up one another. We have displayed for mankind in this Quran every kind of similitude, but most people insist on denying the truth. And they said, 'We will not believe in you unless you make a spring burst from the ground for us, or you have garden of palms and vines, then cause rivers to gush pouring through them, or make the sky fall on us in pieces as you claim, or bring Allah and the angels before us, or you possess a house of gold, or you ascend into the sky. Even then we will not believe in your accession, unless you bring down for us a book that we can read.' Say, 'Glory be to my Lord. Am I anything but a human messenger?'" Nothing prevented the people from believing when guidance has come to them, except that they said, "Did Allah send a human messenger?" Say, "If there were angels on earth walking around in peace, we would have sent down to them from heaven an angel messenger." Say, "Allah is enough witness between you and me. He is fully aware of his servants. He sees them well. Whomever Allah guides is the guided one, and whomever he leaves astray, for them you will find no protector apart from him. And we will gather them on the day of resurrection, on their faces blind, dumb, and deaf. Their abode is hell. Whenever it appears, we intensify the blaze for them. This is their repayment for having blasphemed against our relations, and having said, shall we, when we have become bones and fragments, be resurrected as a new creation? Do they not consider that Allah, who created the heavens and the earth, is able to create the likes of them? He has assigned for them a term, in which there is no doubt, but the wrongdoers persist in denying the truth. Say, if you possessed the treasuries of my Lord's mercy, you would have withheld them for fear of spending. The human being has always been stingy. We gave Musa 9 clear signs. Ask the children of Israel. When he went to them, Pharaoh said to him, Musa, I think that you are bewitched. Musa said, You know that none sent these down except the Lord of the heavens and the earth, eye openers. And Pharaoh, I think that you are doomed. He resolved to scare them off the land, but we drowned them and those with him altogether. After him, we said to the children of Israel, Inhabit the land, and when the promise of the hereafter arrives, we will bring you all together. With the truth, we sent this Quran down, and with the truth, it descended. We sent you only a bearer of good news and a warner, a Quran which we unfold gradually that you may recite to the people over time, and we revealed it in stages. Say, believe in it or do not believe. Those who were given knowledge before it, when it is recited to them, they fall to their chins prostrating. And they say, Glory to your Lord, the promise of our Lord is fulfilled. And they fall to their chins, weeping, and it adds to their humility. Say, call him Allah or call him Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. Whichever name you use, to him belong the best names. And be neither loud in your prayer, nor silent in it, but follow a course in between, and say, Praise be to Allah, who has not begotten a son, nor has he a partner in sovereignty, nor has he an ally out of weakness, and glorify him constantly. Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf is very important surah of Quran. Abu Darda, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, if anyone learns by heart the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, he will be protected from the Dajjal. Recitation of first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. Praise be to Allah, who revealed this book, Quran, to his servant, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and allowed in it no distortion, valuable to warn of severe punishment from himself, and to deliver good news to the believers who do righteous deeds, that they will have an excellent reward, in which they will abide forever, and to warn those who say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has begotten a son. They have no knowledge of this, nor did their forefathers. Grave is the word that comes out of their mouths. They say nothing but a lie. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, perhaps you may destroy yourself with grief, chasing after them, if they do not believe in this information. We made what is upon the earth an ornament for it, to test them as to which of them is best in conduct, and will turn what is on it into barren waste. Did you know that the people of the cave and the inscription were of our wondrous signs? When the youths took shelter in the cave, they said, Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmatan wa hayyi' lana min amrina rashada. Our Lord, give us mercy from yourself and bless our affairs with guidance. Then we sealed their ears in the cave for a number of years. Then we awakened them to know which of the two groups could better calculate the length of their stay. We relate to you their story in truth. They were youths who believed in their Lord, and we increased them in guidance. And we strengthened their hearts when they stood up and said, Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. We will not call on any God besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for then we would have spoken an outrage. These people, our people, have taken to themselves gods other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why do they not bring a clear proof concerning them? Who then does greater wrong than he who invents lies and attributes them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Now that you have withdrawn from them and from what they worship besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, take shelter in the cave, and your Lord will unfold his mercy for you and will set your affair towards ease. You would have seen the sun when it rose veering away from their cave towards the right, and when it sets moving away from them to the left, as they lay in the midst of the cave. That was one of Allah's wonders. He whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides is truly guided, but he whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides, for him you will find no directing friend. You would think them awake, although they were asleep, and we turned them over to the right and to the left, with their dog stretching its paws across the threshold. Had you looked at them, you would have turned away from them in flight, and been filled with fear of them. Even so, we wakened them, so that they may ask one another. A speaker among them said, How long have you stayed? They said, We have stayed a day, or part of a day. They said, Your Lord knows best how long you have stayed. Send one of you to the city with this money of yours, and let him see which food is most suitable, and let him bring you some provision thereof, and let him be gentle, and let no one become aware of you. If they discover you, they will stone you, or force you back into their religion. Then you will never be saved. So it was that we caused them to be discovered, that they would know that the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is true, and that of the hour there is no doubt. As they were disputing their case among themselves, they said, Build over them a building. Their Lord knows best about them. Those who prevailed over their case said, We will set up over them a place of worship. They will say, 3, and their fourth being their dog. And they will say, 5, and their sixth being their dog, guessing at the unknown. And they will say, 7, and their eighth being their dog. Say, My Lord knows best their number. None knows them except a few. So do not argue concerning them, except with an obvious argument, and do not consult any of them about them. And never say about anything, I'll do that tomorrow, without saying, Inshallah, if Allah wills. And remember your Lord if you forget, and say, Perhaps my Lord will guide me to nearer than this in integrity. And they stayed in their cave for 309 years. Say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best how long they stayed. His is the mystery of the heavens and the earth. By him you see and hear. They have no guardian apart from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he shares his sovereignty with no one. And recite what was revealed to you from the book of your Lord. There is no changing his words, and you will find no refuge except in him. And content yourself with those who pray to their Lord morning and evening, desiring his presence, and do not turn your eyes away from them, desiring the glitter of this word, and do not obey him, whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance. So he follows his own desires, and his priorities are confused. And say, the truth is from your Lord. Whoever wills, let him believe, and whoever wills, let him disbelieve. We have prepared for the unjust a fire, whose curtains will hem them in. And when they cry for relief, they will be relieved with water like molten brass, which scalds the faces. What a miserable drink, and what a terrible place. As for those who believe and lead a righteous life, will not waste the reward of those who work righteousness. These will have the gardens of Eden, beneath which rivers flow, reclining on comfortable furnishings. They will be adorned with bracelets of gold, and will wear green garments of silk and brocade. What a wonderful reward, and what an excellent resting place. And cite for them the parable of two men. To one of them we gave two gardens of wine, and we surrounded them with palm trees, and we placed between them crops. Both gardens produced their harvest in full, and suffered no loss, and we made a river flow through them. And thus he had abundant fruits. He said to his friend, as he conversed with him, I am wealthier than you, and greater in manpower. And he entered his garden wronging himself. He said, I do not think this will ever perish, and I do not think the hour is coming. And even if I am returned to my Lord, I will find something better than this in return. His friend said to him, as he conversed with him, are you being ungrateful to him who created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then evolved you into a man? But as for me, he is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Lord, and I never associate with my Lord anyone. When you entered your garden, why did you not say, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah, as Allah wills? There is no power except through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Although you see me inferior to you in wealth and children, perhaps my Lord will give me something better than your garden and release upon it thunderbolts from the sky so it becomes barren waste, or its water will sink into the ground and you will be unable to draw it, and ruin closed in on his crops. And so he began wringing his hands over what he had invested in it, as it lays fallen upon its trellises. And he was saying, I wish I never associated anyone with my Lord. He had no affection to help him besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was helpless. That is because authority belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the true. He is best in rewarding and best in requiting. And cite for them the parable of the present life. It is like water that we send down from the sky. The plants of the earth absorb it, but then it becomes debris, scattered by the wind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has absolute power over everything. Wealth and children are the adornment of the present life, but the things that last, the virtuous deeds, are better with your Lord for reward and better for hope. On the day when we set the mountains in motion, and you see the earth emerging, and we gather them together, and leave none of them behind, they will be presented before your Lord in a row. You have come to us as we created you the first time, although you claimed we would not set a meeting for you. And the book will be placed, and you will see the sinners fearful of its contents, and they will say, woe to us! What is with this book that leaves nothing, small or big, but it has enumerated it? They will find everything they had done present. Your Lord does not wrong anyone. We said to the angels, bow down to Adam. So they bowed down, except for Satan. He was of the jinn, and he defied the command of his Lord. Will you take him and his offspring as lords instead of me, when they are an enemy to you? Evil is the exchange for the wrongdoers. I did not call them to witness the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor their own creation, and I do not take the misleaders for assistance. On the day when he will say, call on my partners whom you have claimed, they will call on them, but they will not answer them, and we will place between them a barrier. And the sinners will see the fire and will realize that they will tumble into it. They will find no deliverance from it. We have elaborated in this Quran for the people every kind of example, but the human being is the most argumentative being. What prevented people from accepting faith when guidance has come to them and from seeking their Lord's forgiveness, unless they are waiting for the precedent of the ancients to befall them or to have the punishment come upon them face to face? We send the messengers only as deliverers of good news and warners. Those who disbelieve argue with false argument in order to defeat the truth thereby. They take my verses and the warnings for a joke. Who does greater wrong than he who, when reminded of his Lord's revelations, turns away from them and forgets what his hands have put forward? We have placed coverings over their hearts, lest they understand it, and heaviness in their ears. And if you call them to guidance, they will not be guided ever. Your Lord is the forgiver, possessor of mercy. Were he to call them to account for what they have earned, he would have hastened the punishment for them. But they have an appointment from which they will find no escape. And these towns, we destroyed them when they committed injustices, and we set for their destruction an appointed time. Recall when Musa said to his servant, I will not give up until I reach the junction of the two rivers, even if it takes me years. Then, when they reached the junction between them, they forgot about their fish and found its way into the river, slipping away. When they went further, he said to his servant, Bring us our lunch. We were exposed to our travel to much fatigue. He said, Do you remember when we rested by the rock? I forgot about the fish. It was only the devil who made me forget it. And so it found its way to the river amazingly. He said, This is what we were seeking. And so they turned back, retracing their steps. Then they came upon a servant of ours, named Isra, whom we had blessed with mercy from us, and had taught him knowledge from our own. Musa said to him, May I follow you, so that you may teach me some of the guidance you were taught? Isra said, You will not be able to endure with me. And how will you endure what you have no knowledge of? Musa said, You will find me, God willing, patient, and I will not disobey you in any order of yours. Isra said, If you follow me, do not ask me about anything until I myself make mention of it to you. So they set out, until when they had boarded the boat, Isra hauled it. Musa said, Did you haul it to drown its passengers? You have done something awful. Isra said, Did I not tell you that you will not be able to endure with me? Musa said, Do not rebuke me for forgetting, and do not make my course difficult for me. Then they set out, until when they encountered a boy, Isra killed him. Musa said, Did you kill a pure soul who killed no one? You have done something terrible. Isra said, Did I not tell you that you will not be able to endure with me? Musa said, If I ask you about anything after this, then do not keep company with me. You have received excuses from me. So they set out, until when they reached the people of our town, they asked them for food, but they refused to offer them hospitality. There they found a wall about to collapse, and Isra repaired it. Musa said, If you wanted, you could have obtained a payment for it. Isra said, This is the parting between you and me. I will tell you the interpretation of what you were unable to endure. As for the boat, it belonged to the paupers working at sea. I wanted to damage it because there was a king coming after them, seizing every boat by force. As for the boy, his parents were believers, and we feared he would overwhelm them with oppression and disbelief. So we wanted their Lord to replace him with someone better in purity and closer to mercy. And as for the wall, it belonged to the two orphaned boys in the city. Beneath it was a treasure that belonged to them. Their father was a righteous man. Your Lord wanted them to reach their maturity and then extract their treasure as a mercy from your Lord. I did not do it of my own accord. This is the interpretation of what you were unable to endure. And they asked you about Zulkarnain. Say, I will tell you something about him. We established him on earth and gave him all kinds of means. He pursued a certain course, until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting in a murky spring, and found a people in its vicinity. We said, O Zulkarnain, you may either inflict a penalty or either treat them kindly. Zulkarnain said, As for him who does wrong, we will penalize him. Then he will be returned to his Lord, and he will punish him with an unheard of torment. But as for him who believes and acts righteously, he will have the finest reward, and we will speak to him of our command with ease. Then he pursued a course, until when he reached the rising of the sun, he found it rising on a people for whom we had provided no shelter from it. And so it was. We had full knowledge of what he had. Then he pursued a course, until when he reached the point separating the two barriers, he found beside them a people who could barely understand what is said. They said, O Zulkarnain, the Yajuj and Majuj are spreading chaos in the land. Can we pay you to build between us and them a wall? Zulkarnain said, What my Lord has empowered me with is better, but assist me with strength, and I will build between you and them a dam. Bring me blocks of iron, so that when he had leveled up between the two cliffs, he said, Blow, and having turned it into a fire, he said, Bring me tar to pour over it. So they were unable to climb it, and they could not penetrate it. Zulkarnain said, This is a mercy from my Lord. But when the promise of my Lord comes true, he will turn it into rubble. And the promise of my Lord is always true. On that day, we'll leave them surging upon one another, and the trumpet will be blown, and we'll gather them together. On that day, we'll present the disbelievers to hell, all displayed, those whose eyes were screened to my message and were unable to hear. Do those who disbelieve think that they can take my servants for masters instead of me? We have prepared hell for the hospitality of the faithless. Say, shall we inform you of the greatest losers in their works? Those whose efforts in this world are misguided, while they assume that they are doing well. It is they who rejected the communications of their Lord and the encounter with Him, so their works are in vain, and on the day of resurrection we will consider them of no weight. That is their requital, hell, on account of their disbelief and their taking my revelations and my messengers in mockery. As for those who believe and do righteous deeds, they will have the gardens of paradise for hospitality, abiding therein forever, without desiring any change therefrom. Say, if the ocean were ink for the words of my Lord, the ocean would run out before the words of my Lord run out, even if we were to bring the link of it in addition to it. Say, I am only a human being like you, being inspired that your God is one Allah. Whoever hopes to meet his Lord, let him work righteousness, and never associate anyone with the service of his Lord. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.